National Taxpayers Union Foundation. Executive Vice President is Joe Bishop Henchman. He's joining me now on the live line, and I couldn't love your name more when it comes to taxes. Hi, Joe.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for being here. Okay, so this did pass the House as far as the big, beautiful bill, but you said some GOP holdouts just want the higher salt cap to hold up tax relief for all Americans. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah. Yes, and we'll see how it goes in the Senate. It's a long way to go, but the bill includes a lot of good provisions that will that are otherwise going to automatically expire at the end of the year. Tax cuts for about 2/3 of Americans. One of the more controversial items is whether the deduction for state and local taxes should be made more generous or stay as it is right now, capped at $10,000. And we had quite a few House members that demanded that it be increased. These are House members from high-income, high-tax states that disproportionately benefit from that deduction. And their demands work out to about $300 billion over 10 years, which is a lot of money that could be going to something else or be used to reduce taxes for more people than just them.
Well, and my thing is, I think everybody across the board should get the same amount of a tax cut because we're all Americans. We all worked hard. Some just got lucky and their business took off, or they had a silver spoon in their rear end. Who knows how they got their money, but it's their money. And I don't think taxation is the way to go to try to fund every little thing. Donation and private, generosity oftentimes takes care of a lot of the things that they mandate on us. But excuse me, I'm not mad.
It's one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons that we should like the tax bill that was done in 2017 because it moved away from a lot of those targeted special interest things towards broad tax relief for all Americans. One of the biggest changes they did was the standard deduction, the amount of tax-free income that any American can deduct without having to keep all of their receipts and collect all their information. That was doubled under the bill, and now 90% of Americans take that. And that's one of the provisions that will go away December 31, 2025, unless Congress acts. So that's why we're paying close attention to it at NTU to make sure it gets done.
Yeah, and when I itemized, I got more money back because I actually got paid back for every little thing that I bought that was really for work. Otherwise, I wouldn't have purchased it. But with this high level of having to reach a certain mark, most people are just filing and to heck with it. But what I don't understand is they're holding out for these high tax states, but that's a state problem. You know what I mean? It's like if they don't like how high their taxes are in their own states, why don't they get their state legislature to work on that instead of screwing up the federal bill?
Exactly, and it creates a perverse incentive because the worse the state tax system gets or the local property taxes get, the more the deduction is valuable. And it's exactly the wrong thing that the federal government should be encouraging. So we hope that the Senate will pare that back a little bit, or at least not make it worse, and that we can get this done so that we don't have a huge tax increase come January 1.
I'm just worried about small businesses. I want that to stay in place no matter what else happens. I think that should be on its own, to be honest with you. But they want to call it the one big beautiful bill, and it does address a lot of things that are very important to all of us. But it does include a few gotchas. It does. And I don't think there's ever been a perfect bill, but this, how do we go about this? Can they just line item it out and then it goes back to the House and they have to agree to that? Because I don't think they will.
Well, the Senate can make whatever changes the Senate wants to make, and then it'll go back to the House and they'll negotiate the differences. So I do know lots of different people are working right now to try to make changes in the Senate bill, some of them to the better, some of them to the worse. And so senators really need to hear from people. And I know people can get a little cynical about politics, but they really do listen. Maybe they don't always act on what they're told, but senators really do listen to what people have to say. So if it's important to you that this bill be pro-growth, that it get done before January 1, and that it not include a lot of these special interest provisions. Say that to your elected representatives.
Well, and everybody's sitting here like, well, it's May. We've got plenty of time. I'm like, no, it's going to be, these guys take forever to do anything. So January 1 is like tomorrow when it comes to whether or not a bill passes like this, because this is something that I think is iconic for what we do here in America to try to help everybody keep more of their money. But the Democrats who only listen to the mainstream media really believe that this whole bill is about giving money back to the fat cats. But what they don't know is that it's their own party trying to get the money to the fat cats.
Yeah, and if Congress doesn't act by January 1, that doubled standard deduction, the tax-free deduction amount that 90% of Americans takes, that will fall by half. The child tax credit, which is currently $2,000 per child, that will fall by half. That's essentially every parent in America takes that deduction. Bunch of small business deductions, 199A deduction, which no one except small business has heard of, but almost every small business takes, as well as the ability to deduct purchases of new equipment. That goes away. So there's a lot of stuff that really matters, and that's why, by our estimates, about 2/3 of Americans will face a tax increase if Congress doesn't act by the end of the year.
So, if they gave money back to the states, or if the states would just figure this out for themselves. It's like they want federal government money. They don't want to do anything within their state. Because by now, not only should New York be able to clean up their city with the amount of money that they pay in taxes, they should be able to, make everything out of gold, I think you said in one of your reports.
Yeah, the $300 billion, the four members of Congress who were saying they might vote against the bill if they didn't get the equivalent of about $300 billion. I did the math. You could actually gold plate the roads in all four of their districts for less than they were asking for. So it's a lot of money. I know when you start talking millions, billions, trillions, people kind of it's hard to really follow the significance of it. But $300 billion is a lot of money, even for the federal government.
Well, in our lifetimes, most of us never see $1 million. The average Joe, we don't see $1 million in our regular Joe Schmo lifetime. So when you start talking billions and trillions, it becomes nonsensical to us, because that's just so many zeros that we're sending off to foreign countries who will hate us for free. We're sending off to, I believe in humanitarian aid. That's the one thing we should always do. But I really feel like a lot of the money that we send to other places could be kept here to help the people who live here instead of places who hate us. And none of that should be in there.
And this is what Congress is going to be struggling with. And I know December 31st does seem like a long time away. It is only May, and we're all guilty of maybe putting off stuff to the last minute now and then. But the small businesses really need the certainty. Taxpayers really need the certainty, and that doesn't come from doing everything at the last minute after Christmas, leading up to New Year's. The sooner we get this done, the better.
Yeah, and it's got to be done for the small business sake. I know they are all sweating in their boots, and I've talked to a few of them. And they're like, if this does not pass, we're going to have to lay off half of our employees or close the doors, because we can't function without this tax break.
Yeah, it's very serious right now, and with the uncertainty of the economic environment, some things can be controlled, some things can't, but something that can be controlled is Congress not letting the tax code expire at the end of the year.
Well,
they can fix that.
I want them to spend a lot of money on the military. I want to build that sucker. I wanted to make it so scary the Chinese poop their pants. I want our military to be so strong that we've never seen anything like it. When Clinton made the deal back in the day to destroy a lot of our nuclear warheads and missile sites. I'm originally from North Dakota, so there were like 800 of them just in my home state. But all those silos gone, I was like, I get that he was trying to make a point here that you get rid of yours, or I'll show you yours if you show me mine. Opposite of that. But it seemed to me like he was making us weaker, and that made me feel unsafe. So I want them to spend on military. I want them to. but I don't want them to spend
And
on other countries' military other than Israel.
And that's another thing we monitor at National Taxpayers Union and at NTU. We monitor Pentagon spending. We think it's really important that the Pentagon pass an audit. We do need to spend a lot of money on defense, and we do spend a lot of money on defense, but that by itself doesn't make us safe. What makes us safe is that we spend it well, and we spend it on important stuff. And like I said, it's something we monitor to make sure that or to advocate for, because I don't think we're there yet. We're not at a place where the Pentagon's passing an audit, and we'd love to see that.
Yeah, well, they should, because if anybody's going to be honest, it should be something we hold with the highest regard, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But, some of these holdouts who are from these rich states are not Democrats, they're GOP. And so
right.
we need to knock some sense into them. I don't know. Do we send Rocky out to get them? I mean, what do we do?
Contact your representatives, let them know how important it is that this get done, that it be pro-growth, that it be fiscally responsible, and that it not be put off till the end of the year. As it stands right now, I think all Democrats are planning on voting against the bill, which is unfortunate because I think there's a lot of pieces of the bill, including some of the things we've talked about, standard deduction, child tax credit, small business deductions that are bipartisan, that are not Republican-only provisions. And it'd be good to maybe send a message on stuff we agree on, but we'll see how that goes.
They dig both feet in, and if Democrats are good at anything, it's sticking together and acting stupid, because they will vote down something that's great for their constituents just because it wasn't their idea. I've never understood that. I'll never understand them. They used to be for the working man, and now they are just all about themselves. I watched videos from 10, 15 years ago where even Bill Clinton was saying illegal aliens are a drain on the society. They are taking jobs from the great American people, blah, blah, blah. Trump says the same thing today. He's a racist. So it's all about party lines now. If it's the GOP's idea, it must be a bad idea, even if it's good for their people.
And it's unfortunate, and I'm holding out hope that, because we still got time to get this bill done, that maybe that'll change. But no, you're probably right. That'll probably be something that we have to strive for the future. Maybe it's not going to happen this year. Yeah. And it's unfortunate. Our country suffers for it.
Yeah, and it'll suffer big time, and then we'll see just exactly what's going to happen in the midterms. That should be interesting. Mr. Bishop Henchman is the executive vice president of the National Taxpayers Union Foundation. Where do they go to learn more about what you all are working on and the details of this bill?
Check us out at ntu.org.
ntu.org, and you can see it all for yourself. Thank you so much, Joe.
Anytime.
Bye-bye.